So, Rakhee, can you, in a nutshell, describe what the Protection of Personal Information Act is, otherwise referred to as POPI or the POPIA?
So, I mean, we originally all called it POPI, and the information regulator came out at some point and said she preferred that we call it POPIA. Essentially, it's South Africa's newest data protection legislation, and it seeks to ensure that all organizations and anybody actually that interacts with personal information protects it to the highest standard, and also international standards. And it's a much needed law that's been missing from our, I guess, legal field.
So, according to the Act, most organizations are expected to be compliant by July 2021. And it is almost for me as if we are now experiencing a similar time when the Consumer Protection Act was first introduced, and many people, businesses, consumers didn't necessarily understand their rights within that framework. It's almost like we're at the same place with data protection and privacy law, etc. Maybe it's worthwhile just exploring some of the myths and misconceptions about the Act. Perhaps we should quickly just start off with what is it definitely not?
Exactly like you say, there are a lot of, I think, myths and half truths about the Act. Many organizations think that they're going to be exempt from complying with POPI either because they are a very small organization or maybe they are a non-profit organization. But I mean, it's safe to say that in any way or form, if you're going to be processing personal information, you will be caught by the Act if you're in South Africa. When it comes to international organizations, there's a little bit more to explore and, try and understand what their operations are like to see if it will apply. But if you're processing personal information in South Africa, then you're going to have to comply with the Act. One of the other things that is a lot of organizations have sort of seemed to understand, which is completely not true, is that nothing will happen to them if they don't comply. And a lot of them have sort of felt that if they just, ignore it, they won't be caught by it. But we know that, since POPI has come into law on the 1st of July of this year, the information regulator has put out a lot of statements and has been very active to kind of show that, they are going to be taking this seriously and they are going to hold organizations accountable. So there is a lot to lose if you don't comply with POPI. As people are going through their POPI compliance journey, they feel if they do A, B, or C, or if they hire so-and-so to help them, then they can be certifiably compliant. And that does not exist. So nowhere does the law provide for it. Nowhere has the information regulator said it. And in other jurisdictions, there is no such thing. You cannot get a certificate of compliance. There's no rubber stamping here. It's either you comply or you don't. And it's much more than just putting policies. It's about adapting your processes and making sure that you truly comply with the Act.
And from our side in the change management space, that this is not simply a compliance exercise.
Yes.
For you to be truly able to enforce this, it requires actual material changes inside the organization.